reviewing strangers' websites. So this time we're gonna do socialtriggers.com, and I like their website a lot, mainly because of the content, so I figured I'd review the website too. Okay, so for starters, I love the image. The image is interesting, different, colorful. It pulls in your focus a little bit here, and that way you can read this, which is closely associated with it, and this here. But since it's on the right side, then you can easily navigate to your left and read all of this content. The issue I have with this method is that there's no tagline here. Social Triggers, the first time I came here, really didn't know what it was. Someone just sent me here, and I had to poke around a while and read all these different statements here. It'd be nice to have something that says social triggers using psychology to drive traffic and sales, something like that. Some quick tagline. I mean, you have a lot of information here. It'd be really useful to do. Navigation looks fine. Home, about, contact, and free updates. I'm not entirely sure. Okay, so that's a straight conversion page. They want to get some emails and info here. It's nice to do that. There's a lot of update spots. There's an update spot here trying to convince you to get in the door. But the issue I have with that is this is before the content. How do I know I want updates yet? If I'm a user of the website, I don't need to be up here because I'll be reading the content. But the thing is, I always see the sidebar, I always see the below. Imagine there are conversions that are coming through here though, so that's probably why it's kept. I'm not entirely sure on that number though. It'd be nice to know the difference between this one, and the one at the bottom of the articles, but it just seems there should be a tagline. This is a lot of stuff right up front. I'd rather get to reading, but this tells me a little bit about what the website is, apart from just a tagline too, before bombarding with the articles here. So it's not a terrible design at all, but you really don't need to do the update thing so quick. It's pushing a little bit too quickly before you're given any value at all. Most people don't like to subscribe to something they don't know the value of yet. This is all very nice and formatted. I've seen studies that this particular theme is converting very well for him. I'm not entirely sure I like the super broken up language, but that's just his style, and some people like it, some people don't. It's like humor, you can't have everybody liking your written works. Get updates, it's free. I like how he does that. Little silly things to get you to do things, and the constant reinforcement of credibility using these little statements right next to the updates is fantastic. Putting this here right next to this, that right next to this. All the pictures, very clean but not over the top, sort of amusing. The social thing here is nice. I don't see a Facebook one though, which is sort of odd. Why wouldn't you have a Facebook social button? There's another thing on this website. If you have so many articles, you know, just tons and tons of articles, people are going to go look for your content. Well, you don't have any search bar here. It's not difficult to put in a search either. There are some pretty powerful WordPress search plugins you can get. It could go right here or below, or even in the sidebar if you wanted to, because they have widgets for that. But some kind of search. It's impossible to search this site unless you go into Google and make it specifically search this website. That makes it really hard to share the content, which I think most people want to do, is get their content shared. and with all the work and research that's put into these articles, I'm assuming that people would share that content, especially if I'm looking for it to share it. It's nice to have these here though. Resources, building email lists, increasing online sales. Sort of curious if there's more that could be put here. He's got a lot of content, so I'm not entirely sure if there are more big pieces that could be done, but it's something to think about. Popular articles, that's always a good one because you already know people want to read it, so you get them linked in there, which means these are going to be helpful for SEO. If you're going to follow here, you could also do a Facebook like. That's pretty easy to set up. And especially if you have a ton of people showing their images, haha, this is sort of funny. It's a social trigger. It shows more credibility because you have more of a social following. It's social proof. This 40,500 followers is some social proof, but when you add images in showing it's on a different network, even on Facebook and tons of people, huge social trigger. These are awesome. Other stuff, I'm not entirely sure if that should be a part of this kind of grouping up here. Let's check out the About page. Nice, reasonable picture. Not too crazy here. Imagine he's using, nice little psychology here to be grounded, so it doesn't look like he's just talking crap, being all egotistical, because that's really easy to do on an About page. Also, people want to go to an About page more or less to find out what they can do with the site, and that's what he's doing here. He's trying to get to those points. I don't see any navigation back to the home, which is frustrating. I'm not entirely sure how helpful that is. Why would I sign up to something that traps me on this page? Not entirely. I wouldn't want to. The contact form, this is still here, so it should be on the About page, and all of the pages should have all of that navigation, to be honest. This could be shrunk up a bit. This is a lot of space for that. This could be fixed to be less space here. You can contact Derek using the following form, or message Derek on Twitter. So it'd be cool to just wrap that all into one. I think there's even a widget you can get that directly Twitter an account, so that'd be really cool to do it interactively right here instead of having to jump to the page. You can also put the entire Twitter thing in here in a collapsible, which will add SEO because you would have all of those comments populating on the page, which is more content, more links. It's just a nice bit of synergistic action, to use that cliche. This doesn't really need to be here either, except it can if you put that all in one area. It's just, this is all too spread out. It's not cohesive. This could just say first name, last name, instead of putting it down here and adding more space. It's just too much space. So go to the free updates. We already looked at that, I think. That's pretty nice. It's got the privacy policy, terms of service, and powered by Thesis, which is that theme I was telling you about that they had this is made out of. So all in all, I'm gonna say it's a pretty high converting website, of course. I mean, he does a good job with that. He's got the recommendation thing here, free updates at the top, like and tweet here, and then as you go, a lot of times there's a floating bar you can get. I think that's more effective because you only see this once or twice, but if it's not with you, it just pops up everywhere, and that's even more intrusive, I feel. But this is here, and then the comments. Comments aren't too bad. It's a nice comment system. It would be cool if it was threaded, but it's not necessary. Check them out. A lot of good information here, but those are my pieces of advice and my review on socialtriggers.com.